Are you thinking about adding a Royal Gramma basslet to your saltwater tank? If so, you'll be in good company, because Gramma is a great beginner fish, and is one of the most popular fish in the hobby. For a good reason. This is one of the first animals I added to my reef tank, and I have had one in my reef tank almost the entire time. Royal Gramma fish quick care facts. First one, common names. Royal Gramma fish, fairy basslet. The second one, scientific name. Gramma. The third one, size. 3 inches, with a narrow body. The fourth one, minimum tank size. 20 to 30 gallons. The fifth one, reef safe. Yes. The sixth one, care or experience level. Easy, appropriate for all levels of experience. The seventh one, preferred diet. Small, meaty foods. The eighth one, captive bred available. Technically, yes, but not the most commonly available. Ninth one, the original part of the world. Caribbean reefs around Bermuda, Bahamas, and South America. 10th one, diet. Meaty foods like brine shrimp, Mrs. Shrimp, blackworms, or chopped seafood are preferred fare. How much does the Royal Gramma fairy basslet cost? More good news. In addition to being a beautifully colored, hardy saltwater fish, Gramma is also relatively inexpensive generally. The price is in the $20 to $30 range, at least near me, and on popular online fish stores. How big does a Royal Gramma basslet get? The Royal Gramma size is another distinguishing feature. A fully mature adult Gramma fish grows to about 3 inches in size. Is the fairy basslet reef safe? Perhaps the most important question to consider with any fish is whether or not they are considered to be reef safe. More good news for you. The Royal Gramma is definitely reef safe. They adapt well to live in a saltwater tank and leave your corals, clams, and other invertebrates alone. Royal Gramma care and feeding. From a care and husbandry perspective, Gramma does not appear to have very specific or troubling requirements. They eat almost anything. In my experience, they tend to prefer meaty live foods, like brine shrimp and black worms, but they also greedily eat meaty frozen foods, like Mrs. Shrimp. Like most fish, they will take live or frozen food offerings over prepared flake or pellet foods, but they will consume prepared foods, if that is all that is offered. Their mouths seem to be surprisingly large compared with the size of their bodies, and they are capable of consuming fairly large bits of food, when they are motivated to do so. I've recently added the Gourmet Defroster, a small gadget made by Innovative Marine, which helps with planktivores like basslets. Just plop in a cube of frozen food, and it floats into the water column as it thaws. It only lasts a few minutes from start to finish, but it does space out the feeding just a bit compared with my previous method of thaw and dump the food in. Do they hide a lot? Where will the Royal Gramma fish spend their time? In a reef aquarium with sufficient structure, the Royal Gramma fish will spend its time suspended in the water vertically, with its belly along a preferred wall of the aquarium or reef aquascape. Their bold purple and yellow colors will stand out in any reef, and their general boldness will make them a staple in any reef tank, and are part of what makes them a great beginner fish for any reef tank. They can be a bit shy, at times, hiding in the crevices of your rockwork, or if really scared, they may actually swim into the rock, if it can find a place to wedge in and hide. You can encourage them to be bolder, if you have bold fish swimming in the tank, signaling the all is clear. They may be coaxed out by the smell of food, if they otherwise feel safe. One of my favorite things about Gramma is that they will sometimes spend their time suspended at unusual angles based on the aquarium glass or rocks in your tank. It is fun to observe. Appearance and identification. A Royal Gramma fish is purple from the head to the middle of the body, and yellow from the middle of the body down to the tail. The transition from purple to yellow is gradual, blended in like a gradient versus a harsh line. Other distinguishing features are, first one, a black line that goes from the mouth through the eye towards the back of the head, and second one, a black spot on the front part of the dorsal fin. Make sure to look for all of those distinguishing features to avoid inadvertently purchasing the wrong species. By comparison, the very similarly colored Royal Dottyback also has a purple and yellow body. Still, as you can see in the image below, you can see the Dottyback lacks the black line through the eye, the black spot on the dorsal fin, and a very harsh line that separates the purple from yellow coloration. Is the Royal Gramma basslet aggressive with other saltwater fish? A couple of years ago, I had purchased 3 small Royal Gramma basslets from a local fish store intending to breed these magnificent fish, but the piscine trio did not last long. 2 of the fish seemed to get along fine, but they ganged up on the third fish, and, when the third fish was no more, the 2 remaining Royal Gramma specimens, who seemed to get along fine, while the third fish was in the mix, soon turned on each other. I know this is not exhaustive research into the conspecific aggression seen within these species. Still, I have read enough accounts encouraging the addition of a single Royal Gramma specimen per aquarium to extrapolate my own personal experience and justify the old rule of thumb. The only other aggression you have to watch out for with this fish is with a similar looking rival, the Royal Dottyback. Please don't try to keep these two species in the same tank together. Things won't end well for at least one of them. Other than that, the Royal Gramma fish is compatible with all corals and most other fish species. Compatibility with other fish. As mentioned before, Gramma loreto is compatible with most other peaceful reef fish. I have personally had success keeping them with a yellow tang, engineer gobies, flame angelfish, coral beauty angelfish, green chromis, breeding clownfish, flame cardinalfish, Bangai cardinalfish, pajama cardinalfish, neon gobies, diamond gobies, and I'm sure a lot more. Hopefully, that gives you a good sense of the types of fish they are compatible with. The types of saltwater fish I would avoid keeping together would be any aggressive fishes, including blue devil or domino damselfishes, predatory fishes like dwarf lionfish, or snowflake eels, or similar species, like dottybacks nor maybe assessors. Breeding the Royal Gramma basslet. There is no sexual dimorphism shown between male and female Royal Gramma fairy basslets, which basically means you can't tell them apart just by looking at them. Once they begin to bond, the male fish is generally larger than the females, and the shorter females may look a little more swollen in the gut area, if they indeed have ovaries full of ripening eggs. A female will lay approximately 20+ eggs at a time. It takes the eggs about 7 days for the larvae to be ready to hatch. As is the case with most saltwater fish, egg hatching is affected by temperature. Warmer temperatures will result in faster hatching, and the opposite is true for colder temperatures. The natural breeding season is January to June, with some reports of activity lasting into early fall. Do Royal Grammas jump? It is recommended that you have a tight-fitting lid on your saltwater aquarium to prevent your new Royal Gramma fish from jumping when startled. This is not a unique behavior to this species. Many different fish species are known to jump out of the water when startled. How many Royal Grammas in a tank? The best general advice to keep aggression down in a saltwater aquarium is the 1 fish per fish family, per tank rule, since aggression is common between two similar fishes. That advice holds reasonably true with Royal Gramma fish too, although it is possible to keep a small group in your tank. As mentioned before, Royal Gramma basslets are harem spawners in nature, meaning one male will mate with multiple females. If you plan to keep more than one in a tank, it is best to try to replicate that social structure by adding one larger fish with a few smaller fish at the same time, so that each individual has a chance to establish their territory simultaneously. Personal experiences with more than one fairy basslet at a time. I will share that my personal experience trying to keep a group and establish a breeding harem was met with a lot of aggression. Eventually, the group settled down, but only after agreeing to chase one to within an inch of its life. Not sharing that as a typical experience, just a personal experience, candidly. Alternatives to the Royal Gramma. I personally love this boldly colored saltwater fish, but I also know it's not the right fish for all situations, tanks, or personal tastes. So here are a few other similar fish you could consider. If you're interested in a fish with a similar look, torpedo shape, prominent purple coloration, you may want to learn more about the purple tang or the orchid dottyback. Or if you like that torpedo shape in the vibrant yellow, you could consider the Midas blenny or the yellow chorus wrasse. So, today we are talking about some details about Royal Gramma. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos.